This is the YVESS podcast. I call it the House of Living Essence. These conversations are an invitation to pause, to reflect, and perhaps to uncover something within yourself that has been quietly waiting beneath the noise. Welcome once again. This is YVESS. And the question today for me was, who is shaping your mind? So, what if one of the greatest questions we could ask ourselves today is not what is happening in the world, but rather who is telling me what's happening in the world? Every single day, we absorb thousands of opinions. Think about it: headlines, videos, commentary, predictions, arguments, warnings, advice, lots of advice, lots of warnings. Some of it is valuable, sure. Some of it is inspiring, of course. But much of it leaves us feeling anxious, overwhelmed, fearful, and angry. Just today, someone sent me a clip of some people going crazy in some area of the world, and wow, fearful and anger was the note, right? But my question was, how often do we stop and ask a very simple question? This one: who is speaking? What perspective are they speaking from? What experiences have shaped their view of the world? I could say a lot about that video, but I'm not going to. But I looked at it and said, what do they know? What don't they know? And perhaps one of the most important questions of all is, how do they hope I will feel after hearing what they have to say? I mean, these aren't cynical questions, they're philosophical questions, questions that invite us to think instead of merely react. I used to react, but now these questions help me remain awake. So these are questions to help us remain awake. One of the things I've noticed is that many of us begin our mornings by reaching for that small glowing screen. It's automatic. You wake up, reach, before we've even noticed the sunrise, before we've even spoken to someone we love, before we've taken a deep breath even. Someone else's voice has already entered our minds. Someone else's concerns, someone else's fears, someone else's interpretation of reality. And before we know it, our emotional state has begun to change. And it's not because our life has changed, it's because we've borrowed someone else's experience. That made me wonder, how much of my day is actually mine? How many of my thoughts are genuinely my own? How many emotions arose because something happened in my own life, and how many were borrowed from someone else's headline, someone else's opinion, someone else's outrage, or someone else's fear? So I'm not criticizing, it's a simple observation, because once we observe something, we become free to choose. Attention is one of the greatest gifts we've been given. It's also one of the most valuable resources we possess. Every company wants it. Every advertiser competes for it. I mean, I'm also there competing. Every social media platform is designed to hold us for just a little longer. But attention is more than a commercial commodity. Attention is where your life happens. Whatever consistently receives your attention quietly begins to shape your inner world. Yes? If your attention rests on beauty, you begin to notice beauty. If your attention rests on kindness, acts of kindness become easier for you to see. If your attention rests on gratitude, your life slowly becomes richer, even if nothing around you changes. But if your attention is constantly drawn towards fear, towards conflict and outrage, then before long, the world begins to appear as though it consists only of fear, conflict, and outrage. And it's not because reality has changed, but it's because your attention has changed. And that's how it affects your life. And attention quietly becomes your perception. I found this old question that has fascinated people for generations. Are we human beings beings having a spiritual experience, or are we spiritual beings having a human experience? Well, I don't know the answer, but I do know this. If we spend every waking moment reacting to voices we've never met, we slowly stop having our own human experience. We begin to live second-hand lives. I live in a small town. Sometimes I walk down the street and someone smiles and someone waves. Someone stops to ask how I'm doing. Children are riding their bicycles. Dogs are lying in the sun, basking. I smell fresh coffee drifting from one of the beautiful little restaurants here, or cafes or coffee shops. And the wind moves gently through the trees. Life feels wonderfully ordinary. And then I realized something. Only 20 minutes earlier, I may have been convinced that the world was collapsing because everything I've just been reading online shows that. Yet, here I am, surrounded by kindness, surrounded by ordinary people simply trying to live good lives. Both experiences are real, but only one of them is directly mine. When I look around my own community, I don't see a world full of enemies. I see parents trying to raise their children well, people caring for elderly parents, business owners wondering how they're going to make it through another month, planning, friends supporting one another through difficult season. I see people grieving, people celebrating, people falling in love, people searching for meaning. And I see people trying to become better than they were yesterday. The more I observe humanity, the more I realize something remarkably simple. Most of us want exactly the same things. We want to be loved, we want to be recognized, we want to belong, we want shelter, and yes, we want safety. We also want peace, and we want purpose. These are not political desires. They are human desires. Of course, there is suffering in the world. Yes, of course, there are terrible things happening. We should never become indifferent to them, but neither should we allow fear to become permanent atmosphere in which we live. Because fear narrows our vision. Presence expands our vision. Presence reminds us that the person standing right in front of us deserves our full attention more than the stranger shouting through that screen. Presence reminds us that the conversation happening in our own home matters, that the neighbor next door matters, that today's work matters, that this breath matters. And perhaps one of the greatest freedoms we have is choosing where our attention rests, choosing what deserves space within our minds, choosing what kind of inner world we are cultivating. This is one of the reasons fragrance has become such an important part in my own life. For me, fragrance is no longer simply a perfume. It's an interruption, a beautiful interruption. Every time I pause and inhale a natural fragrance, something shifts. My breathing slows, the noise becomes quieter. My attention gathers itself. I return to this room, this breath, this moment. The people I love become real again. The work before me becomes real again. And the beauty around me becomes real again. And it's not because the world has disappeared. It's because I have returned to the only place where I truly have influence. Think about it. The present moment. Maybe that is what presence really is. Not escaping the world, not pretending difficult things don't exist, but refusing to surrender our peace to voices that do not know our lives, refusing to abandon the extraordinary reality that is unfolding right in front of us. So today I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Protect your attention. It may be one of the most precious gifts you've ever been given, because wherever your attention rests, your life quietly follows. Your life quietly follows. So before we finish today, I'd like to invite you into a moment of presence. If you have a natural fragrance nearby, place a little on your wrist. If you don't, that's perfectly all right. Simply become aware of your breathing. Close your eyes. Don't do this while you're driving, by the way. But close your eyes. Take one slow, gentle breath in. And slowly breathe out. Take another slow breath in. Allow yourself to arrive completely in this moment. Now, ask yourself one question. Whose thoughts have I been carrying today? Take another slow breath. Now ask yourself, which of those thoughts are truly mine? And one final breath. And ask yourself, what will I choose to give my attention to from this moment forward? When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Presence isn't something we discover once. It's something we choose, one breath at a time. Thank you for spending this time with me in the House of Living Essence. I'm Yves. Until next time, breathe deeply, notice beauty, and ask better questions.